trigonometry, sketching graph, melakakan graph, which means I've done with your sine graph, cos graph, and tangent graph. Okay, those three graphs. All right. But today, what we are going to be doing, we are going to be looking at the other part where you are given the graph and then you have to write down the equation. So yang ni pula terbalik. Okay, it's the other way around. Okay, it's up the other way around. Okay. So what do I mean by the other way around? Well, let's take a look at my screen first, and then I'll explain. Okay. So this one. Okay. Yang ni terbalik. Okay. This is upside down. Okay. All right. So what do I mean by upside down is, you see, normally, okay, there's some coming in. Okay. So what happened here is that you are given the graph and then you kena terbalikkan. Okay, I need to meet everybody first. All right. Okay. Now again, if you've got any questions, you can ask in the chat box. Okay. But I got to continue first, otherwise we won't be able to finish what I need to do with you today. Okay, so last week I explained to you about the ciri-ciri bagi graph. Okay, I explained to you that the graph you can shift up, down. So again, there are 5 features, 5 ciri bagi graph. Okay, so today what we are going to do is dia terbalik. For today, they give you the graph, and then from the graph given, you will need to write down dia punya equation. Okay, write down the equation. So this is still considered part of paper 1, because paper 1 they give you the graph or you sketch the graph, basic graph. Okay. After this, I'll do paper 2 with you. Okay. So number 1, you need to know the shape of the graph. Number 2, you need to know what are the features that will affect the graph shape. Okay. The features that will affect the graph shape. Okay. So let's do a quick recap first. Okay. I've got tons of stuff here. Hopefully I did not delete it from last week, did I? Oh no, I think I probably removed it. Yeah, okay. All right, so that means I'll explain very quickly. Anybody absent from last week? I hope not, okay? So anyway, let's come back to this question here, okay? So what we are going to do now is we are going to answer the question based on what the graph is supposed to look like. Okay, so just bear with me. Yeah. So the contoh, the first example here. Okay, you are given this, and soalannya ialah write down dia punya equation. So in order to write down the equation, all right. In order to write down the equation, I need to understand someone's having problem. Okay, so number 1, you have to know bentuk graph dia. Okay, like you know, graph can have amplitude. The graph can be reflected, diterbalikkan. Then there's a modulus for the graph, and then the graph can also shift up or down. Okay, all right. So what we see from here is number 1, I need to know the basic graph shape, bentuk asas bagi graph. So I know that the sine graph bentuk dia begini. Okay. This is the shape of the sine graph. So when I look at this graph here, it looks like the bentuk ialah seperti graph bagi sine. Okay, so I know that. Okay. Now number 2, I also notice that the graph, there's a line right through the center here. Okay. Now why do I need to know that? Because this means the graph already moved up, or maybe the graph moved down. Okay. Because what you guys got to understand is, when you look at your graph, right, the center of the graph is normally like this. For the graph bagi sine kan, di tengah-tengah. But now it has moved up dah ke atas. So this tells me that there is a shift. Okay, there is a shift. All right, there is a shift. So because there is a shift, I need to know what is the equation that I need to write. Okay, apakah persamaan yang perlu ditulis? So for example here, number 1, I know the graph ialah graph bagi sine. So I will start by writing, okay, here, number 1, I need to know the graph. So y sama dengan, okay, there is an amplitude. Okay, there will be an amplitude, but the number here is 4, the number here is 2. Amplitude maksudnya the number or the value from the center. Okay, so from the center line to the number 4, can you see from here to here, this is 2. Okay, it has shifted by 2. Dah bergerak sebanyak 2. So because dah bergerak sebanyak 2, that means now I know this amplitude ialah 2. So first is y equal to 2. Okay, y equal to 2. So here ialah 2, and then sine Okay, because graph dia bentuk sine. And then how do I need to know how many graphs there are? Because remember I told you last week, kalau for example y equal to sine 2x. Kalau sine 2x, this means, right, we are talking about two waves or two graphs. This means two graphs. Okay, dual graph, but it's always measured up to 360. Okay, always measured until 360 degrees. Understand? Okay. All right. Now, ini budak lapar tengah makan. Okay. All right. So now you have to understand that it means two graphs until 360. Okay. So now how am I going to reverse it? Okay. So one thing I need you all to understand is that there is a formula to calculate the period. Okay. Period is equal to 360 divided by B. Okay, period ialah tempo. In BM ialah tempo. Okay, period ialah tempo. Okay, now what is the B? Because every question that you do for your graph, whether it's sine or cos or tangent, the general one for sine ialah y equal to A sine BX and then tambah C. Okay, so again, what you have here is the A dekat depan here. This A is your amplitude. This B ialah BX, which means the number of graphs, okay? Number of graphs. And then this C here is the vertical shift, okay? The vertical shift. So today we have to combine everything, and today we have to write down the equation, okay? We have to write down the equation. All right. So right now here, I notice for this particular question, nampak tak? This B number ialah 2. B sama dengan 2. So if I do that, that means this will mean 360 divided by 2, that will give you 180. Kan? Okay? This is just a formula to help you understand. Tapi sebenarnya, if I look at the graph, can I see here? 180 degree. Okay? So one graph is 180. Okay? Now, as I said, the number of graphs is always measured until 360. Sehingga 360. So if the graph, one graph is 180, that means 360, there should be two graphs, right? So if you can understand that, it's even better. That means y equal to 2 sine 2x. Okay, 2 sine 2x. And then the shift is very simple because it's always supposed to be at center at 0. But now the center here is drawn at 2. Pada 2 kan. So maksudnya dari 0, it has gone up all the way to 2. That means 2 sine 2x tambah 2. Okay, so this is the equation of the graph. Okay, one more thing. Your question here also asks you to write down your domain. So domain basically means from the starting until the ending. Okay, the x value from the beginning right until the end. Okay, so from here I have noticed it's 0. It goes all the way until 180. That means your domain here is 0 degree, symbol x, and then symbol 180 degree. Okay, that is your domain. Okay, so actually this part here is just like last week, except that it's upside down. Last week, you are given the equation and then you draw. Okay, this one here, you just have to write down the equation based on the graph given to you. Okay, now of course, I can't be spending so much time on this. This one you all can try and figure out by yourself, but I'll explain one more. Okay, just to make sure you understand how to find your answer. Okay, so maybe what I'll do next is, okay, I'll pick this one. Okay, nombor 3. All right, now for the number 3 here, what we see is, again, you are given the graph shape, okay, bentuk graph dia. All right, so by looking at the graph, I need to know the bentuk asas dia, okay? So yang ni bukan sine. This is not sine anymore. Yang ni lah graph bagi cos. Again, you have to recognize the bentuk bagi graph. So yang ni graph dia ialah cos. Okay, I know that. Okay, so number 1, the graph equal to y sama dengan, I need to check for the amplitude. Okay, so nampak tak, the graph, the center of the graph now is here. Tengahnya di sini is at 1. And if I look at the highest point there, the number ialah 5. That means from 5 until 1, this number is 4. Okay, this number is 4. So this gives you the amplitude. Amplitude bukan 5, because other pelajar, they misunderstand. They thought amplitude is the highest number. No, 5 is not the amplitude. Okay, the amplitude is measured from the center line to the highest point of your graph. So 5 and 1, beza dia 4. That means here your amplitude is 4. Okay, the amplitude is 4. Okay, now next part. Okay, next part is, we know the graph is cos, but how many graphs? So once again, I look at the angle here, I see 90 degree. Okay, so always we take is 360. If 360 Now it's 90 for one graph. Satu graph 90. So you faham tak? It means you have got cos and then 4x. I think that should be quite easy to understand, right? Okay. Satu graph 90. Jadi sampai 360, it will be 4 graphs. Okay. 90, 90, 90, 90. Okay. So 4 graphs. All right. And then what about the shift? So from here 0, it goes up to 1. So from 0 go up to 1, that means dekat belakang ialah plus 1. So eventually now we have 4 cos 4x and then plus 1. Okay. And this time dia punya domain is then from 0 until 90 degree. Okay, so that is your domain. Okay, all right. I think most of them are already here. Okay, so I can go on to the paper 2 already. All right, let me just check in with you guys. Okay, so are you able to understand that part? I think maybe some of you dah pun buat yang tu kan. Okay, it's just that part is just for you to write down dia punya equation. Okay, write down the equation. All right, now guys, for today's class, I'm going to focus more on the paper 2. Because like I said, why paper 2 first? Okay, why we do graph sketching first? Because paper 2, you have between 6 marks to 8 marks. Okay, anywhere from 6 marks to 8 marks. And paper 2 will be bahagian A, which means you need to know how to do. Okay, so let's look at paper 2. The soalan, I think they already sent to you because I already sent the questions much earlier. So for paper 2, we are looking at this. Okay, this one. Okay. Okay, sketching graphs for paper 2. Okay, but what I'm going to do here is I will not do question. Okay, what we have to understand is that the number 1 question here I'm going to leave out first because of one simple reason. We are going to start with question number 2. Okay, question number 2. Let's start dengan question number 2. Okay, now you notice or not, they got 2 parts here. Okay, so number 2 part A 4 markah, number 2 part B ialah 3 markah. Now these questions are all based on SPM questions. That means berdasarkan soalan bentuk SPM. So if I look at the first part here, okay, bahagian pertama, they will ask you to lakarkan the graph. Okay, you are asked to sketch your graph. So let's look at the part A first. Okay, for the part A, kita kena lakarkan dia punya graph. There you go. All right. Now, understand that here they say lakarkan graph bagi modulus 3 sin 2x. Okay. Now, number 1, some of you when you do this, your teacher may say bina jadual. Buku teks pun bina jadual. Tapi sebenarnya kita tak bina jadual. Why? Because it's a waste of time. Okay. Number 2, there is a domain. You have to obey the domain. Nampak tak here? The domain yang dia bagi ialah sampai 2 pi. You should already know 2 pi sebenarnya bermaksud 360 degree. Okay, so kalau you dah biasa dengan melabel dia punya angle with darjah, for example 90, 180, 270, 360 kan. So now understand that you have to label using the radian. That's why you got 2 pi. Okay, all right. Now, so when I draw the graph, number 1, I need to know what the graph looks like. So pertama sekali yang ni lah graph sine. Okay, so graph sine. So first I know the graph sine bentuk dia begini. Okay, rujuk kepada bentuk asas dia dulu. So the main shape for the graph sine is 1 up and 1 down. Okay. Number 2, I see there's a 2x over here. 2x meaning I need to draw 2 graphs. Okay. But please understand now, whatever you have here is based on 360. That means until 360, you draw 2 graphs. The domain they want is until 2 pi, which is 360. Which means yes, for this question, you need to draw 2 graphs. Okay. Number 3 in front here, this is your amplitude. Maksudnya when you draw, the highest point on your graph will be 3. Okay, but most importantly now, you have got a modulus. Okay, so let's put all this information. Kita ambil semua maklumat yang ni, put them together, and I do a rough sketch first, lakaran kasar. So number 1, I know that I must draw 2 graphs. Do a graph. Okay, kita kena lukis 2 graphs. So I got 1 and 2. Okay, next, I know that the amplitude ialah 3. That means on top is 3, in the center is 0, and the bottom is -3. Okay, that's your amplitude. Next, there is a modulus. Now, modulus bermaksud semua yang di bawah dibawa ke atas. You bring up. Okay, you bring it up. After you bring it up, whatever is at the bottom, you have to remove. So that means, secara kasar, your graph will then look like this. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ada 4 bonggol. Okay, di atas. Why got 4? Because it comes from 2 graphs. Why would you have the graph going up? Because there's a modulus. Yang atas don't bring down, yang tu pantolan. Okay, so now I know the rough shape of the graph. Then you can draw your x-axis and your y-axis. Okay, so remember your amplitude is 3. Okay, so to make it easy for me to sketch my graph here, I'm going to draw a long line first. Okay, and that's my y-axis. So yang ni paksi Y dia, yang ni paksi X. To make it easy for me to sketch, I'm going to write here, of course, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you guys got to understand that when I'm going to draw the graph here, I'm going to pull the graph. So here, we already know you have got 4 bonggol lah. So your graph is supposed to look like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they have to be the same height, tinggi yang sama. Okay, so when I draw here, this is 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So you repeat lah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, for me, I can do this. You guys can't do this. So that is the problem. Okay, you guys got to actually draw properly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put side by side. Okay, you have to draw because in the exam, you have to know how to draw your graph properly. Okay. Right, so second one is here. And the third one, fourth one is here. There you go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure the height sama, the height is sama. So of course for you, you can't do that. You can't just copy and paste. You have to draw properly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and notice the amplitude 3, so must be the same height. Tinggi yang sama, tinggi yang sama. Okay, and then after that, what else do we have? Oh, the label. You need to label it properly. So the angle, that means at the end here, pada paksi X, this will be 2 pi. Tengah-tengah will be pi. Yang ni ialah 1 over 2 pi. And here will be 3 over 2 pi. Okay? Just so long as you understand that pi ialah 180. So 2 pi is 360. Setengah pi ialah 90 degrees. 3 over 2 pi ialah 270 degrees. Okay? So all this is 4 marks. Okay? Now it might seem that there's a lot of marks given here, but actually it's quite simple. Your shape must be correct, okay, because they give you a few information here. You have to have your amplitude, your angle must be labeled correctly, graph sign, you have to draw 2 graphs, and then the modulus. Okay, so 4 markah, very, very simple. Okay, so with enough practice, you get the hang of it. Okay, just practice a bit and you'll be okay, right? So that part is okay, no problem, all right? Okay, so do you all still remember how to draw your basic graph shape, right? Okay, guys, boleh faham kan? Okay. Now again, whatever you don't know, please ask either in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask me, okay? Because I got to make sure that you guys really understand what you're doing, okay? No need to be shy, okay? Because like you already know, we are now in the 4th week of MCO or the 4th stage, and then we're going to go on. So I think most likely, you guys will only be able to go back to school by, I don't know, June, okay? By June, probably, okay? All right, good. Okay, because if you can understand, then I can go. Because I don't want to go too fast. Because if I go too fast, I scared some of you, you know, you will get a bit confused. Ada orang yang confused tapi malu tanya. It's okay. There's nothing to be shy here. Okay, nobody will know. Okay, or if you are shy, you can chat to me personally. Okay, you can chat to me personally. It's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to move on. So that one here, sebenarnya, the part A, right, is based on what you have done last week. But for part 2, you have to draw a straight line. You kena lukis garis yang lurus. Okay, so let's look at the part B now. Okay, so for the part B of the question here, it says, seterusnya, hence, you have to draw a straight line. The line that you draw must satisfy your equation given to you. Okay, so let me just paste the question here so you can take a look at it. Okay, all right, now here's the thing. In your part B of your question, they give you this equation. Nampak? This is the equation given. It contains pi, okay? And it says here, you need to draw a straight line. Laka satu garis lurus, or in the English version, sketch a suitable straight line. Okay? Now, here's the problem. You know a straight line is supposed to be y equal mx plus c, right? Persamaan garis lurus. But why is it now your straight line has a modulus and then there's a sign? Why is it your straight line has a pi? No problem. Why is it a pi? Because your trigonometry, you use the pi as for the angle, okay? Which means your x-axis, all your labels are in terms of pi. Okay, so what we do now is if I just write out the equation here from the part B, so persamaan yang dia bagi ialah 2 minus modulus 3 and then sine 2x equal to x over pi. What I need you to understand is sebenarnya you are supposed to use your part 1 and then you compare dengan part 2. Okay, so if you look at your part 1, when you bandingkan dengan part 1, do you see not there is something in part 1 here, which is also found in part 2, which is here. Can you see that? Okay. So what you're supposed to do is open your eyes, okay, and you must realize that these two are the same. So from your part A, modulus 3 sine 2x sebenarnya ialah y. So if I know that, that means I can replace this green box here with y. Boleh faham? That is what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to find unsur-unsur yang sama dari bahagian A untuk diganti masuk ke dalam bahagian B. So when I take the bahagian A and ganti masuk ke dalam bahagian B, that means now persamaan dia sekarang menjadi, it becomes 2 minus y equal to x over pi. When I susun balik, remember we want the y to be a positive. So when I arrange this again, I will then get y equal to 2 minus x over pi. So once you get y, this is your straight line. Okay, straight line equation. Inilah persamaan garis lurus. This is your straight line. Okay, so whatever they give you in part B, you have to bandingkan dengan part A, cari unsur yang sama. Sometimes you can ganti terus like this. Sometimes you have to arrange a little bit only, but there will be elements yang sama. Then you combine, gabungkan, and then you can find your answer. Okay, someone's asking a question. Why we have to make it y? Okay, kenapa kita kena jadikan dia y? Because persamaan garis lurus, bukankah bentuk AMD ialah y sama dengan mx tambah c? Get it? Okay, persamaan garis lurus must fulfill this criteria, which means you must have y, what? Must have gradient, that's why mx. And number 3, must have the c, lintasan y. Okay, so that is why you got to make it in this form. Boleh faham? Okay, Sanjay? All right, now moving on, moving on. Okay, so now what I have, once I have this, right, I have to draw a straight line. Now to make it easy for you to draw a straight line, right, the simplest thing I'll tell you is build a simple table. So what I'm going to do now is to build a table, meaning, okay, I take x, okay, and maybe here I'm going to write 2 minus x over pi. So basically what it means is that 1 is x and the bottom one is basically y lah, okay, and I'm going to pick points from the graph, okay? So again, you do not need to show working. This one here is just for you to understand how it works, okay? You just build a table. The table is fine, it's counted as your working. So if you look at the graph here, from your earlier graph, I will take the 3 typical points. 3 main points we normally use are 0. So that means 1 point is going to be here at 0. Another point is going to be here at pi. And 1 more point is here, which is 2 pi. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the first, the middle, and the last. Boleh faham tak? So maksudnya now, in my table here, when I ganti those values, right, I'm going to ganti x0, x pi, and x2 pi. Boleh faham? Okay, those 3 points. And then you replace, and you can find your value, okay? So when I replace 0, now once again, you do not need to show the working. You build a table is good enough. Okay, so but because here you may not understand, that means first one here, 2 minus x0 over pi. Kan? So you calculate that. So what do you get? 0 over pi is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. So this number is 2. Got it? Okay, you replace one by one. Second one, you replace x dengan pi. If I replace x dengan pi, that means I get pi over pi. Do you understand that pi divided by pi is 1? So 2 minus 1 will give you 1. Second value, okay? Third one, you replace pi with 2 pi. X dengan 2 pi, ganti x dengan 2 pi. So once again, pi dengan pi you potong. So what you have now, you have 2 minus 2. So 2 minus 2 become 0. Okay, 2 minus 2 becomes 0, okay? Rise over run. Yes, you may use rise over run to draw the straight line graph, but here's the problem, because there's a pi. So when there's a pi, students may not know how to draw the graph properly. Because normally when you draw your graph, your graph is just, for example, persamaan garis lurus, y sama dengan 3x tambah 5. So no problem. Okay, because right now persamaan dia punya kecurangan ialah 3. But now, do you notice not for this graph, for this question here sebenarnya, when it is like this, right, your gradient is actually negative 1 over pi. So it's going to be a bit complicated because what does it mean by negative 1 over pi? So some students cannot understand that. Are you clear? But if you're able to understand the rise over run, okay, then it's fine, no problem. Okay, so I'm just generalizing, menjadikan dia lebih umum so that everybody can understand. Okay, all right. So now what I'm going to do is using this table now, I'm going to draw my straight line. Okay, so I'm going to bring this table here because you know why? When you draw your line, you have to draw on the same graph. You have to draw on the same graph. Pada paksi yang sama. Okay, same axis. Okay, all right, yeah. So you have to draw on the same axis. So if I draw on the same axis here, maksudnya what happens now is you're going to have two graphs, dua graph. One is the trigo graph, the sine graph, and the other one is the garis lurus on the same axis. So I plot my points first. So first one, x0, y number ialah 2. So x0, y number 2 is over here. Okay, boleh faham tak? In case you tak faham, semua ni sebenarnya ialah y. I just write 2 minus x over pi supaya lebih senang nak kira. Okay, so first one x0, y ialah 2. Yang number 2, x ialah pi, y ialah 1. So pi and 1, that means will be here. X pi, y number 1. Last kali, x2 pi, y0. So x2 pi, y0 will be right here, pada paksi x. So those 3 points now, you are going to draw a straight line. So take a ruler, take a ruler and draw a straight line. Okay. Now, because you are doing a lakaran, in case, let's say, for example, your point dengan the line tak kena, you can padam and adjust a bit. Because this lakaran is not supposed to be very accurate anyway. Okay, so it's only a lakaran. Understand that? Okay, so now I see I got one straight line. So this straight line here represents persamaan garis lurus, which once again, the blue line ialah y equal to 2 minus x over pi. Boleh faham? That is your blue line. Okay, and you have to draw the same graph as you draw in the part A. Okay, but for paper 2, right, why do they want you to draw the same line? Because then after that, soalan ni tak habis. Dikata nyatakan bilangan penyelesaian. State the number of solution. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to state the number of solution. Okay, so how do I do that? Very simple. Okay, so the number of solutions will be where the line and the graph, the curve, will intersect. Titik persilangan. That was why when I draw the curve earlier, I make sure I draw it properly. So can you see not? The line and the graph touches here, here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Boleh faham? So that's why when I draw the graph, that part that goes up this way, right? You must draw it clearly. Because some students, they join too close. When they draw too close, they melekat. Okay, so when you melekat, you count it as 1. It's not. So got 2, 4, 6, 8, ada 8. So number of solutions is just 8. That's all. Okay, so that is what you have to do for paper 2 of your trigonometry, which means you draw your sine graph or cos graph or tangent graph. That's part 1. Part 2, you have to draw a straight line. To draw a straight line, you combine what they give you from part A with what they give you in part B. And then you build your table, plot your points, and you draw your straight line. Okay, and that's all. And then write down the number of solution. Okay, so this is the requirement of paper 2. It's not that complicated. Okay, can you understand? Boleh faham tak? Okay, all right, let me just check in with you guys. Yes, somebody is asking something, is it? Yes, okay, very good. Okay, now what about the rest of you? Boleh faham ke tak boleh faham? Okay. Now, maybe some of you may have some difficulty about drawing the line. That's why I'm going to discuss some more, okay? I'm going to discuss some more. Because you have to also understand how can the question change? Apakah cara, bagaimana soalan dia boleh berubah? Okay, how can the question change? All right, so now, moving on to the next part, okay? Just now, I skipped question number 1. So now I'll come back, I'll return to question number 1. I'll show you why I skipped question number 1 first, okay? So again, you have got a part A, you draw your curve, some other sine or cos or tangent, and then a part B, you have to draw your straight line. We will see these same things being applied again in your paper, in your question number 1, okay? So Question number 1 now. All right. Okay, so again for 4 marks untuk 4 markah. Okay. So you see, question number 1, they give you now is cost, graph bagi cost. So I need to know apakah bentuk graph dia. Okay, so number 1, before you draw your graph, just have a rough idea. Okay, rough idea of what the graph looks like. So I know yang ni lah graph cost. So the cost graph should look something like this. This is my cost graph. Okay, this is my cost graph. That's number 1. Okay, now what else do I have to know? There is a 4 meaning amplitude there. So on top is 4, in the middle is 0, and down is -4. Okay, that is that. But there's some more. In front of 4, do you notice there's a negative? What is the meaning of negative? Negative is reflection, pantulan. So kalau pantulan maksudnya, when you draw your graph now, your graph will be upside down. Whatever that is up will go down, whatever that is down will go up. So which means your graph is supposed to actually look like this. Okay, upside down, diterbalikkan. Okay, it's turned upside down. So once you get an idea of what the graph looks like, now you are ready to sketch. But whether the graph is the correct way or upside down, remember there are 4 numbers here, 3 numbers here. Up is 4, center is 0, and at the bottom is -4. Okay, so that one you all can do. Draw your paksi X dengan paksi Y. Okay, draw your X-axis and your Y-axis. So there you go. Paksi X dengan paksi Y. Okay, so yang ni paksi Y dan yang ni paksi X. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to write 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead I'm going to use 2, 4. So here 2, 4. Here 0. Here is -2. Here is -4. Okay. So basically, I'm going to use 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so it's easier to draw. Boleh faham kan? Okay, all right. So now, can you sketch the graph? Remember, your graph is upside down. Okay, one more thing. To make it easy for you to draw, remember you can draw your dotted lines. So I'm going to draw one dotted line on top at 4, and one more at -4. This means your graph cannot exceed, tak boleh melebihi this dotted line, and pastikan is dotted line. So make sure you make it dotted line. Okay. You cannot draw a straight line. It has to be a dotted line. Okay, so now your graph you can draw. Your graph must be inside here. Okay, so you can sketch your graph first. Okay, can you lakarkan the graph first? Because we need this part A to do the part B. Okay, so lakarkan the graph dulu. Okay, are you done? All right, so the cost graph, I now know it has to be upside down. So that means my graph will look something like that. And then after that, I'll pull it down. I pull it down, it goes, hang on. It looks a bit chat. Never mind. Here, here, here. So this one goes up and there. Okay, there you go. That is the cost graph. Okay, so whatever yang extra I padam. So this one I remove, so I remove, this one I remove, and then I label here yang ni punya paksi X. Okay, now remember I'm only drawing one graph because yang ni lah cost X. X maksudnya one graph only. So kiranya cost 2X, then I have to draw 2 graphs. Okay, all right, that's fine. Now the angle. So at the end here, this angle will be 2 pi. In the middle, this will be pi. This one here will be 1 over 2 pi. And over here, you have 3 over 2 pi. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. The blue line, you don't want to padam, never mind. You can leave it there. It's okay because it's dotted line. Okay. Or when you do your questions, right, you want to draw the dotted line, you can just draw a very fine dotted line yang halus. Jangan tekan kuat sangat so that the line is not very visible. Okay. Right. So that's your part A. Okay, so once you've done the part A, now the next one is we know for the part B, you have just now in the earlier question, we draw a straight line. Okay, and we have to combine the part A dengan the part B. So if I look at the part B now, there you go. Okay, so let's put it at the side here so we can make a comparison. Okay, so for the part B now, when I compare part A dengan part B, as I said, there must be something yang sama. So if I look at the part A and the part B, what I should notice here ialah, in the part A, we have got negative 4 cos X. In the part B, persamaan yang dia bagi ialah 4 cos X. Almost the same, right? Only difference ialah the part A ialah negative, the part B ialah positive. But I can make it become the same because persamaan yang dia bagi, okay, equation given here is this. They give you pi over x plus 4 and then cos x equals 0. So if I move the 4 cos x over, that means now I get pi over x equal negative 4 cos x, right? Negative 4 cos x. Why? Why is it I want the part A and the part B to be the same? Because we need to get the y. Remember, persamaan garis lurus must have y. So in this case here, now I know if I compare this exactly, okay, negative 4 cos x from your part A is actually y. So I can replace the y. Okay, so whatever I see a negative 4 cos x, I buang and ganti dengan y. So it means now my equation here will then be y equal to pi over x. Okay, pi over x. Okay, now one thing, just now in the earlier question, we draw the table and we draw a straight line, right? Okay, because just now, notice not, the question given to you after you arrange persamaan dia lah, this one here is x over pi. This is x. Notice? Okay, now I want you to take a look, this question number 1. You nampak tak dia punya x dekat bawah? Okay, x at the bottom. Why is that important? Because if the x is at the bottom, right, that means this is not a straight line, you know. Understand? Ini bukan garis lurus, which means you do not draw a straight line. You cannot draw a straight line. You are not supposed to get a straight line. Okay, so what do I mean? Okay, now if you recall in your maths in form 5, right, you have learned of a graph yang bentuk dia unik sedikit. Okay, now let's recap. Do you remember or not? You have learned this graph shape. Okay, so here you have your paksi y, and over here you have your paksi x. Do you not remember you have learned a graph yang berbentuk begini? Do you remember that? Okay, so the equation of this graph can be, well, y equal to 1 over x. Or it could even be y equal to 5 over x. Correct, no? The point is it is over x. Okay, so if you recall, you have learned, yes, correct. It is called the reciprocal graph. You want to screenshot? You can screenshot, but I do not know whether it's, where is it? If you have your phone, you can screenshot, I think, okay, to look at the graph. But let me just finish up first, okay? So yang ni ialah reciprocal. So because it is reciprocal, right, ataupun bagi mereka yang belajar BM, yang ni dipanggil graf salingan. Okay, graf salingan. So what you have to understand is that selain graph yang ini, the red one here, there's also the blue one, which I'm going to draw here. One is here and one is here. Nampak? Apakah beza? What's the difference between the blue and the red one? The red one ialah graph yang bernilai positif. The blue one ialah graph yang bernilai negatif. So contohnya yang biru ini, it can be y equal negative 1 over x. Ataupun y equal to negative, let's say for example 3 over x. Boleh faham tak? Whatever the case is, the feature about the graph salingan ialah, nampak tak, the x is always at the bottom. Understand? The x is at the bottom. So you be smart. For this kind of question, number 1, do not draw a straight line. Because you see x at the bottom, this is a reciprocal, graph salingan. Number 2, don't waste your time bina jadual. No need. Okay, you know why? Because yang ni lakaran is only a sketch. It does not need to be accurate. Number 3, you need to know whether it's a positive graph or negative graph. So nampak tak here? This is a positive pi. So this is a positive graph. Kan? You know why? Because your reciprocal only got 2. One is a positive, yang graph bentuk warna merah, and one more is negative, graph bentuk warna biru. So now I know this is a positive graph. So which means When I sketch my graph here, I don't even need to draw a table. Okay, I just know that the graph that I'm going to draw will be shaped something like this. That boleh faham? Okay, so why do I just tarik begini? Because I know graph yang positif is sukan pertama. I know that the graph tak akan sentuh paksi Y, the graph tak akan sentuh paksi X. Dan graph dia melengkung. So you just tarik only. Okay, you just pull it down. So this is the graph, the yellow color one here is the graph for Y equal to pi over X. No need to plot so many points. Don't have to waste your time. Okay, just now the table is only to membantu you orang get your graph yang senang. So actually if you ask me, yang curve lagi senang. Okay, but they always ask you the same thing. They will always ask you for number of solutions, bilangan penyelesaian. So once again, the number of solution will be where the two graphs intersect, persilangan dia. So can you see not your graph intersect here and your graph intersect here? So because your graph intersect at these 2 points, that means, right, the number of solution will then be 2. So that is your answer. Okay, number of solution is 2. Are you clear? Are you okay? Do you understand that this question is actually easier than drawing the line? Because to draw the line, you have to have a table with the 3 values for X. But reciprocal, no need. You just need to know the graph shape and then you tarik only. Okay, you just pull it down. So most of the time, the graph will be the positive value graph. So you just pull it down and then you see the number of intersection and then you're done. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, are you all right? Okay, let's see. So guys, can you understand the reciprocal graph? Yang graph salingan tadi. Okay, you orang belajar graph salingan in your maths kan? Okay, so once again, just tarik only. Okay, tak susah, very simple. Okay, very good. Now, the problem is this one. When you do your paper 2, right, don't expect all your graph to be the same type. So right now, right, the bahagian B sebenarnya, when they ask you to draw, they will ask you to draw either garis lurus or graph salingan. Okay, one of these two. So now you already know that. But the problem is, yes, I want to discuss a question where they change things out a bit. Sean say number 7. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look and see, okay? I want to make sure that I need to do with your soalan di mana they give you a real challenge. So Sean was saying question number 7. Let's see whether if you pick the question that I want to discuss with you or not. This one. We can, but Sean seems to be obsessed with tangent graph. I don't know why. Yes, we will do the straight line. We will do the straight line. But hang on, let me pick out a question here which is a bit unique because it's kind of pointless for me to do a question where it's kind of straightforward. So okay, I'll do question number 7 later. But in the meantime, let's do question number. Not this one. Yeah, number 3. Let's do number 3. You know why I want to do number 3? Very simple. I want to do number 3 because the domain is different. Okay? Don't worry about the straight line. Somebody asked me about a straight line. Here we are going to draw a straight line. So you will see the straight line being used. So relax. Don't worry about that. Okay? Right. So now let's do number 3. So this question number 3 will allow me to cover a few important points that you should know, that you must know. Okay? So let's look at question number 3. A first. Okay, so for 3 marks, sketch the graph of y equal to 5/2 cos 2x. Okay, so why do I want to pick this question? Simple, because got this. Because got this. When you see 5/2, some students get confused. Why got 5/2? Okay, but again, let's break it down first. So pertama sekali, number 1, when I want to sketch the graph, please understand, okay, this 5/2 is nothing more than the amplitude. Boleh faham? It's nothing more than the amplitude. That means you got to understand that when you draw your graph, the top here will be 5/2, in the middle 0, and the bottom negative 5/2. Are you clear? That's your amplitude. If you do not want to use 5/2, you can even use 2.5. You faham kan? 5/2 is same as 2.5. It's okay. Okay? And then yang ni cos. So you know the shape of the graph bagi cos. Belakang dia 2x. That means you are going to draw 2 graphs. Okay? But this 2 graph is drawn until 360 degrees. Now again, when I say 360, it also means 2 pi because they are the same thing actually. Okay? So let's get started with that graph first. Okay? So let's draw the graph. Remember, you're going to draw a cos graph, but you're going to draw 2 graphs. Okay? Now, don't worry about this part first. I'll explain. Okay? We draw the graph first. we draw the graph first, okay? So let's draw the straight lines first. Okay, 5/2, okay, so here, all right. I'm drawing the Parksy longer first because I have to draw two graphs, okay? I have to draw two graphs. All right, so this is your y-axis, okay? So here, 1, 2, 3. I'm using 1, 2, 3. By the way, remember 5/2 is like 2.5, so it'll be somewhere in the middle. That's your amplitude, okay? All right, and then here will be -1, -2, -3. Because when we pakai decimals, it's easy for us to understand where it's supposed to be, right? Okay, so now I'm going to draw the dotted line first to help me understand how to cap off the graph, okay, to have the highest and the lowest, because graph dia bentuk cos kan. So 2.5, it's right there. Okay, draw long, never mind. And -2.5 is right there. It doesn't have to be accurate, tak payah nak tepat sangat, okay? It's only a lakaran. So this is my dotted line. Okay, got it? All right, so you have got your dotted line. That means your graph that you are going to draw is going to be sitting right inside here. You are going to be drawing two cost graphs. Okay, so two cost graphs. So let's go ahead and draw the two cost graphs first. So tarik. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I want to make it the length, the distance here is this. So I tarik from here. Okay, so this one pull down. One, two, okay, this down, hang on, okay, tarik ke bawah, and then bring up again. Not nice, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, so this one go down. There's one graph kan, okay, that's one graph, okay. Oh wait, tak kena, I need to make it touch the blue line. Hang on, let's adjust that. So to make it touch the blue line, this one you pull all the way up to here. So this is one graph, but we have to repeat. Okay, we have to repeat. So dual graph. Okay. So again, you have your pencil to tarik. Okay, it's not easy for me to draw with this because the screen is glass. It's a bit sticky, a bit slippery. So I'm going to hit a bit, which I can do, but you guys cannot do. Okay. So right there. I'm going to remove this part first. I do not need the dotted line. Then I'm going to carry that and put beside it. Okay. So you have to draw two graphs, huh? So lebih kurang begini lah. Okay, so I got my two graphs. One graph, two graphs. Okay, do a graph. How nice if you can do this in your exam. But you can't do that. You have to draw with your pencil. Okay, so I've got my two graphs now. Okay, so now you have to understand, the moment you draw your two graphs here, okay, what you got to understand is that the angles are the angles. Remember, it's cos 2x. That means two graph is up to 360. 360. Okay, so what you have to understand is that at the end here, this angle is 360, but we are using radian. So this is 2 pi. So the center will be here. This will be pi. And then setengah lagi will give you 1/2 pi. And then over here, you have 3/2 pi. Are you clear? Okay. So I have my two graphs, my two cos graph. Okay. Oh, wait, something is wrong. I didn't touch the line. Yeah. Kejap. Made a mistake here. You know what? The line tak betul. Hang on. Let me betulkan. The graph tak betul. Because you know why? The graph must touch the blue line. Aduh, okay, hang on. Let me just betulkan. Okay. So that means here will be, where is it? This part here. So this one will go up to there. And then after that, okay, this one here will be from here, tarik ke bawah. Which means that graph. Okay lah, I'm going to draw straight lah. Don't want to copy and paste, menyusahkan. Okay, so that means this one here, tarik, go up to there. Boleh ke? Boleh lah, you orang boleh faham kan? The graph nampak cacat sedikit, but never mind. So this one I tarik, make it curve a bit. No. So this one here, I need to pull and bring up there. And then this one, pull, how is it? Pull here and bring down there. Boleh lah. Okay, two graphs. Because just now I didn't touch the blue line. Okay. When you draw, not label, what do you mean? So the value of x-axis based on what? Oh, based on this. Because they give you pi, nampak? Pi. Dia bagi pi. Okay, but wait, not finished yet, not finished yet. Yes. Hang on. I know, you are right. Not finished yet. You see, you faham tak? I draw this one. You know why I draw the 2 pi? Remember, ialah cos 2x. So cos 2x, you draw 2 graph until 2 pi, right? But you are right. Okay, you are right. Sebenarnya yang ni tak betul. I want to once again stress to you that whether you draw 1 graph or 2 graph is not just based on this. More importantly, it is actually based on your domain. Nampak tak your domain? You see that? Normally domain they give you 0 until 360. Okay? Ataupun 0 until 2 pi. But right now you nampak tak domain dia until 3/2 pi. So what does that mean? While we draw the graph correct, we draw 2 graph, tapi sebenarnya where must you stop? You kena stop until 3/2 pi. Boleh faham tak? So nampak tak you have 3/2 pi ya? So up to 3/2 pi, yang extra you kena buang. So now I'm going to remove. Okay? So 3/2 pi, everything here kena buang. Okay? Everything yang ke belakang 3/2 pi, you kena buang. Understand this? Okay, that is what it means. That is how to draw your graph effectively, because some of you are able to understand right from the beginning, but some students, they get confused by that. So my suggestion is, when they say 2 graph, you draw 2 graph, and then ikut domain and buang whatever. Boleh faham tak? Ikut domain dia dan buang whatever. Okay, whatever yang extra. Understand? So this is what your graph looks like. Boleh faham? Okay. All right. So let's check and see whether the rest of you okay or not. Boleh faham tak how I draw the graph here? Okay. So when they say 2x, I draw 2 graph. But disebabkan dia punya domain berhenti pada 3/2 pi, that means at 3/2 pi dan ke belakang semuanya kena buang. Boleh faham tak? Okay. This also applies to sine graph and tangent graph. Understand? Okay. So now we are going to look at the part B pula, which is the line, garis lurus. Okay, so once you have that, now the part B of the question 3, we have to draw the straight line. Okay, well, I said straight line, but it could very well be a curve. It could be a reciprocal. So we don't know until we check. So now the next part. So for the part B, first of all, look for unsur yang sama from part A and part B. So if I look at the part A equation, I know that in part A equation dia begini. Okay, so that's the equation. In part B, what do we have? In part B, we have the equation as well. So apa yang sama? Now, it looks like nampak macam sama tapi bukan. You know why? Because you have cos 2x, yang ni pun got cos 2x. We can use that. Tapi bahagian A, there's a 5/2 kan? There's a 5/2. But actually, you know what? You can modify. You can modify either the part A or the part B. So it depends on what you want to do. So let's say lah, yang ni the part B equation dia ialah 6/5 pi x minus cos 2x equal to 6/5, right? But if I look at the part A ni, the cos 2x depan dia ialah 5/2. Tapi yang ni is just cos 2x. There's no 5/2 kan? I can fix that. Okay? So to jadikan dia 5/2, I'm going to multiply everything dengan 5/2. That means here, if I put here 5/2, that means yang ni darab 5/2, dan yang ni pun multiply dengan 5/2. Understand this? Setiap satu multiply dengan 5/2. So if I multiply everything by 5/2, this allows me to do this. Cut become 3. This one cut, and this one become 3. So in other words now, my equation di sini menjadi 3/pi x minus 5/2 cos 2x equal to 3. I can do that. Okay, multiply everything because I want to make the part A dengan part B padan. I want to make it match. Okay, so now to make it match, I can see it's match because nampak tak from your part A now. Okay, 5/2 cos 2x diganti dengan y. I can replace dengan y. So I see 5/2. cos 2x. So I ganti dengan y. So when I ganti dengan y now, this whole thing here becomes 3 over pi x minus y sama dengan 3. The negative y bawa pindah ke sebelah. So that means now y equal to 3 over pi x minus 3. That's your straight line. Okay. Now how do I know it's a line? I know it's a line because x dia dekat atas. The x on top. If the x at the bottom, that means it's not a straight line. So now here, the x is on top. Okay, so once again, from here, I want to build the table, but one problem, you notice this graph here, right? It's at 0, then there's a pi, but the last part is 3 over 2 pi. So what you can do is, sebenarnya garis lurus, right, you only need 2 points. It does not mean you need 3 points. The third point is just to check, to make sure that you're going in the correct direction, okay? So for example here, I can pick x, and then the equation is 3 over pi x minus 3, right? So what I can do here is, I can choose 0, I can choose pi, and maybe I choose 3 over 2 pi for the last one. Because nampak this graph here, the last point is 3 over 2 pi. Okay, so I take 0, I take pi, I take 3 over 2 pi. Okay, now you can put it into the equation. So when x equal to 0, x equals 0, ganti. Okay, you can count mentally in your head. So this one will give you negative 3. Okay, next one you replace pi, x sama dengan pi. So pi and pi potong, so you get 3 minus 3 becomes 0. And the final one you replace x sama dengan 3 over 2 pi. So maybe I'll show you the penggantian here. 3 over pi, x diganti dengan 3 over 2 pi, kemudian minus 3, right? So what happened now is this one here, pi and pi potong. So 3 times 3 is 9. So I get 9 over 2 minus 3. Okay, tolak. 9 over 2 is 4.5. Okay, 4.5 minus 3 will give you 1.5. 1.5, that means it becomes 3 over 2. Okay, so this is 3 over 2. Okay, so can you plot those points there? Let's tarik this one, this side, so you can see clearly. Okay. All right, so plot. That means x0, y is negative 3. So x0, y negative 3. So that means here. X pi, y0, that means here. Like I said, you don't need to plot all 3 points because you are going to draw dengan ruler. So I can draw a straight line already. So I can pull here up to here. 3 per 2 kan? So in fact, it confirms my last value. Because you see, at this point, at the last value, you nampak tak? At 3 over 2, I'm supposed to get 3 over 2. 3 over 2 sebenarnya sama dengan 1.5, right? So look at the table. It's 1.5 at the graph. Okay, 1.5, so it's correct. So biasanya for garis lurus, I need 2 points only. The third point is just for checking purposes, untuk memastikan your graph betul. Okay, so I tarik, I get one straight line. After you pull and get one straight line, right? Then you have to get the number of solution. So as before, number of solutions will then be, well, here I've got 1, 2, 3. So 3. Okay, that is the number of solution. 3. Boleh faham? Any problem? Okay. All right, are you okay? Boleh faham ke? Okay, I'm going to stop the screen for a while. All right, anybody got any problem? Now, as you all know, you need to practice. You're going to try. Cuba, boleh faham tak? Okay. Are you all right? Okay, so I repeat, for the bahagian B, persamaan yang dia bagi, you kena susun. Sometimes kita boleh susun dari bahagian A untuk padan dengan bahagian B. Sometimes kita susun bahagian B dan padan dengan bahagian A. The choice is entirely up to you. Because the point is, I just need to combine bahagian A dengan bahagian B into one equation. Okay? Into one equation. Do you understand that? Okay. Now, I'm going to take a bit more time here because I'm going to explain one more part with you all. There's one more graph here which I need to terangkan dengan you all. Because just now I picked this question because, okay, this question we have domain dia berhenti sampai 3 over 2 pi. Okay, but then there's another question where it's a little bit different. So you might get confused and you might think sebenarnya sama. No. You see, just now here when I draw, Okay, I draw 1.5 graph because domain dia stop until 3/2 pi. Boleh faham tak? Okay, so domain dia stop until 3/2 pi. But then there's another question here which looks like this, but not exactly. So before you get confused by that, let me just explain to you the earlier part here. This question will be question number 5. Okay, question number 5. Okay, now of course I won't have time to do everything here, but I'll just explain the part A. Then the part B samalah your garis lurus. Okay, you combine the part A and the part B first. Okay, nampak? Now the reason why I picked this question is because nampak tak here you have got domain dia 2 pi, no problem. Okay, so when I draw any graph, I need to see what is given to me. So I see there is a negative. That means graph dia terbalik, dipantulkan. Okay, yang ni ialah cos. So cos graph diterbalikkan, dipantulkan. Okay, what else do I see here? I see there's a 4. That means it's the amplitude. Okay, so I understand that when I draw the graph, on top is 4, center 0, and bottom is -4. Boleh faham tak? Graph dia diterbalikkan because of the pantulan. So the cos graph should look something like that. Okay, and then now I see this 3/2x. So what is 3/2x? Well, 3/2x maksudnya 3/2 in decimal is 1.5 kan? That means 1.5 graph until 360. Boleh faham tak? Maksudnya now, when I draw, I need to draw 1.5. So this is 1 and then half. Up to here kan? So 1.5 graph. Understand this? Kita kena tarik 1/2 graph. That is what it means. Okay. So now looking back at how I need to draw now. Okay. Let me just draw the paksi X and the paksi Y first. Okay. So this is the X-axis. This is the Y-axis. Since dia punya amplitude ialah 4, so I'm going to take 2, 4. And down here, -2 and -4. Okay. I don't want to tarik until too far away. All right. So I know the graph I need to draw is an upside down cos graph. I know that the graph I need to draw is 1.5, 1/2. Okay, 1.5. So how am I going to draw 1.5? Let me just, I tell you what, make it easy, right? I'll just do this, this, and this. So it's easy for me to draw. Okay, so this is one graph, graph terbalik. So 1. Okay, this 1. Let me draw better. Okay, this is okay, here, so this is 1, satu graph, but we need to draw 1.5, 1/2. Okay, hang on, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. It's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be here, here, and here. Okay, so this will be, yeah, this looks much better. Okay, so your graph is supposed to look like this. This is 1 and then half. So half would mean your graph will sambung here and goes up to there. So yang ni 1/2. Okay, 1.5 graph. But you must understand, although I draw 1.5 graph, okay, at the end here, unlike the earlier question, this one here ends at 2 pi. Boleh faham? Dia berhenti pada 2 pi. It ends at 2 pi. Understand this? It ends at 2 pi. Okay, so why? Because remember, this means you are going to draw 1/2 graph until 360. Unlike just now you see when I draw the graph here, the graph bentuk begini, but it ends at 3/2 pi. Why? Because this one here, you are supposed to draw 2 graph, but you berhenti pada 3/2 pi, mengikut dia punya domain. But right now, yang ni lain. Yang ni, domain dia kata 2 pi. So you draw 2 pi. Tapi dia punya bilangan graph ialah 3/2. That means 1/2 graph. So you draw 1/2 graph sampai 2 pi saja. Now how do I label? Okay. Now in order to label, to make it easy, right? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count the bahagian. So you follow me. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nampak? Every 2 box. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 bahagian. Bagi 2 will give you 3 bahagian. That means 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. This will be pi. Boleh tak? I repeat, you count there from the 0 right until 2 pi, I got 6 parts, 6 bahagian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So divide by 2 will give you 3 parts. So 1, 2, 3 parts is pi. And then this is pi, the front part got 3 parts. So basically bahagian depan ni, you got 3 small parts. So that means if I want to label the rest, right, this will be 1 over 3 pi, yang ni 2 over 3 pi. Boleh faham? Because 3 bahagian. Okay, so 1 over 3, 2 over 3, 3 over 3. Then you continue. So next one, so if I count out 1 over 3, 2 over 3, 3 over 3, next one should be 4 over 3 pi. Next one becomes 5 over 3 pi. And the last one ialah 6 over 3. Of course lah, 6 over 3 ialah 2 pi. Boleh faham tak? Okay, so you just bagi sama rata. Break it down according to its parts. So this is the part A. This is what your graph will look like for the question number 5. Okay, so walaupun the shape looks like the earlier question, but the angle at the end ialah 2 pi because domain 2 pi. So that's the difference. So you have to understand what is the difference between the bilangan graph and the domain. Okay, so please understand that. Don't get it mixed up. Okay, are you all right? Hang on. Okay, so I suggest that you guys tolong practice your paper 2 questions. Like I said, because your paper 2 markah dia banyak, and all you have to do is just understand certain features about the graph. As I said, ciri-ciri penting bagi graph, and also you have to understand how the graph, the domain, and the number of graphs will affect what you draw. Understand that? Okay, that is what you have to try and get right. Okay, because I can't be spending so much time just drawing the graphs. Because apart from that, in your trigo, right, terdapat banyak lagi benda yang orang kena belajar. Next week, we are going to touch on what you have learned in your Form 4 maths. If you remember Form 4 maths, you have learned SOHCAHTOA, you have learned the ASTC, okay, the 4 sukuan, mencari sudut by finding shift sign, shift cos, and shift tangent. Tapi for ADMATH sebenarnya ada formula yang kita kena pakai. So kita akan lihat identity, basic identity, then you see double angle formula, okay, compound angle formula, semua formula which yorang are given to you, I'll tell you, so yorang tak payah nak hafal. But you got to understand that sebenarnya ada yang yorang kena hafal. Answer sheet I tell you what, why don't you all do first? Actually the answer I have it here. But I don't want to give you all first. You know why not? Because if I give you all first, then here's the problem. When you orang tak tahu buat, you just tengok my answer. So itu namanya menipu kan, tak bisa kan? So yeah. So I suggest you buat dulu. Never mind. Kalau you buat dapat salah, never mind. This is called learning, mah. Okay, so Sean, don't worry about the answer sheet first. You all do first. Then maybe next Friday when I send the next work, I'll put the answer together so that you can refer to the answer and then you check. But you do first. Okay, because I noticed that some of you, whenever I give you answer, you orang terlalu bergantung to the answer, pada answer. So you never try first, and that doesn't really help you. Understand? Get it? Okay, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't want to give you. I want to give you, but I want you to try to trust yourself. You know, understand by yourself first, and then you do.